This is the United States government.
Right.
And what's really important about the billions and billions of dollars that President Trump is looking to freeze, this money was already approved and allocated by Mike Johnson's Congress, you know, weeks and weeks ago.
Right.
So what's interesting is Donald Trump, it's not a surprise that he said, we're going to change things. And lots of people in this country feel like the government spends too much money. We got to clean things up.
Right.
Absolutely. But he's had plenty of time and planning to actually do this in some sort of orderly fashion. And instead, we're getting pure chaos.
But the way it's done, though, and you were so right. I think most people would like business leaders to go in. If there are problems, let's freeze everything for a second. Everybody, let's just stop, slow down, and let's look at our priorities. But in this case, you have a Constitution that gives the power of the purse to Congress, to the Article I branch, and we don't have a line item veto in Washington, D.C. What this is, in effect, is a line item veto saying that a president can completely stop the funding that has been authorized and appropriated by the Article I branch. It's just, I would be very surprised if any court would find that constitutional.
Joe, there's not even a hotline in the administration to tell any of these organizations that are dependent on the money, you're okay. The incoming White House press secretary said, let me calm you. If you're receiving direct support from the government, you're okay. Well, what if your child is in the Head Start program? What if you are getting Meals on Wheels, right? That money doesn't directly go to the senior citizen getting dinner. It goes to the organization. So think about all of this unnecessary confusion. If you want to clean up some of these budgets, if they're not going well, go for it. But the way they're enacting this isn't just illegal, it's just pure chaos that the American people simply don't need.
Right. And Rev, we talked about Medicaid before. A lot of Republicans think that Medicaid is for people who live in inner cities. Medicaid is for people who live all over America. And people who I think are most adversely impacted when Medicaid is frozen, when the portal is shut down, which is reopened now, are people in rural America. Rural hospitals exist in large part because of Medicaid, not because of Medicare, but because of Medicaid. And when Medicaid funding is hurt, then some of the deepest red states are the ones who are hurt disproportionately.
Absolutely. I think that it is clearly underestimated by those on the President West Wing that they are hurting their own base. I mean, many of those in MAGA land are impacted by these freezes. If they're reinstated, hopefully they're not on constitutional ground. Because when you talk about Medicare and when you talk about services, food for children, breakfast programs, lunch programs in school, all of this frozen.
Yeah.
First of all, it's a recklessness that you show you don't care about regular people while you're protecting billionaires. At the same time, all of this in 8 days. I mean, we're sitting here like he's been president for 2 years. He just took office 8 days ago and has come like a wrecking ball. He reminds me of people when we, in the Civil Rights Movement, that said, let's march.
Right.
What are we marching about and where are we going? Let's just march. And that's what he's doing. Let's just disrupt. But you're disrupting your own voters, Mr. Trump. Let's just disrupt.
But a lot of these things they mentioned during the campaign.
Okay, but those voters, do they even know what's happening?
Well,
because remember, there are news deserts around the country, and the billionaires you're talking about that control so much information out there. This is a moment where Democrats need a rapid-fire response, and they need to be in those rural towns and rural counties. And speaking of fire chiefs and police chiefs, and be in town halls and saying, this is what's happening, and it's happening on Donald Trump's watch.
Right.
Because if you actually go to those parts of the country and listen to the news, those people aren't even getting the correct information. And when they get it, the president, who is making these choices, won't be blamed.
Okay, so joining us now is Skye Perryman. She is president and